Hello everyone, welcome to my vlog. It's Wednesday morning. I hope everyone has a wonderful week. I'm sure all of you guys are super busy with all the shoots you're doing. So on today's vlog, I would like to talk about 8 of the most important essentials in order to get a good headshot. This is kind of a list which I've created recently, and I'm trying to kind of focus on each of those things and try to improve them throughout my workflow and throughout my experience to kind of improve them in order to get better and better in headshot photography. So I would like to kind of go step by step and try to focus on those things and give you a little bit of information on each of them, and then how we can improve certain things, and how we can kind of see where's the lack of some of the stuff what we are doing, and that's why we have some issues with the final product and the final shots. So let me start with the number one, which is the gear. I talk a little bit about the gear in my previous vlog. I will link that below so you can kind of see what kind of equipment I'm using, and it's important to get the gear right and see what works and then what doesn't work. And one of the most important I would say piece of equipment which you need in order to get a good headshot is the lens. I found this is the crucial thing. You can work with different cameras, they don't have to be high-end ones. I think all those cameras these days, the DSLRs, are really good, but the lens is the one of the elements which really make a huge difference as far as the headshots photography goes. So I'm using the Nikon 7200, so you really need the lens where you can really zoom in and get this really good close-up, so everything is really nice compressed. Plus like there's a lot of discussion about the bokeh, which means that there's really nice soft background, especially when it comes to cinematic headshots. So I'll link this more information about the gear, but this is number one thing which you have to kind of have all together and then have in order to get a good headshot. The next thing is when we have all the equipment, so number two is the background, and the background depends most of it where are we shooting. Are we shooting inside, are we shooting outside? Also important what time of the day we are shooting, so that's gonna basically kind of impact our image, right? So we have to make sure that the locations we are shooting get us this nice background. I know there's different styles, and there's photographers who are shooting on white background or black background. Those are the most kind of like most common headshots, but you guys probably know, most of you who are in this group, that we are shooting cinematic headshots which have this crazy backgrounds with some really unique and very specific kind of look. So that's kind of important to kind of get this stuff done right, and have the backgrounds which really gonna have impact on our headshot. The next thing is number 3 is the light. So there's two different ways. One way we can shoot natural light. I simply don't do that. I use like a speed lights to lit up my subject, and this is really important. And like shooting the natural light, of course you have to also be the right place, right direction, and there's a lot of those factors which you have to make sure that you're kind of in place in order to get a good headshot. With the speed lights or any other lights you guys are using, you guys have way more control over how you can shoot it, and how you can kind of create your headshot, because the lighting gives us ability to really control how the person is lit up, and we can create more dramatic looks, we can create more soft looks, but it's also important to have everything in a balance, I found, especially when the lighting is coming to the place, because The main light, the kicker light, the background light, everything has to have, in my opinion, has to have a balance, and they all have to kind of work together and have a kind of flow. So the final image, it's gonna look really good, because sometimes, as you probably know from your experience, if one of those lights is messed up, this entire basically look we're going after, it's not gonna look good, and it's gonna be frustrated because there's something which is not right. And I've been there, I've done that, and you know what, I always want to make sure that my lighting, before I even start really kind of shooting, it's done properly, and I'm getting the image which I'm happy with, and looks good, and then basically I can start working on some other stuff. So number 4, which is wardrobe. Because it's a headshot, I found the wardrobe, it's not, well, I don't want to say it's not important, but it's not like a fashion shoot or like portrait shoot where like the wardrobe is like really important, like we see just a little bit of it, but also you want to make sure that it's not something which is going to really distract the image. Sometimes I've been on the shoots where someone brought some really interesting clothing which just was distracting, was just covering some part of the face, was kind of was really kind of bizarre colors, so you want to make sure, and this is what I do, I always ask my clients to bring at least 3 to 5 different outfits which we can kind of choose from and see what works. Another thing which I want to mention here is that as far as the wardrobe goes, it's also kind of have something which kind of work with the image, so it's not something where like it just blends to the background. You want to have some contrast which kind of brings the person, or this headshot we are working on, going to give some contrast which is going to be more visible, and like it's not going to be something which is just distracting and doesn't look good on the headshot. The next thing in number 5 is makeup and hair. Sometimes we kind of don't care about it, and I think this is really important, especially when it comes to women. Like to have hair done, have a good makeup, because that also helps us as a photographers with this with all this editing part, because makeup is also some kind of addition to our images, which makes our image looks better. And it's important to have this makeup and hair done properly, because sometimes I had shoots where the makeup was not as good, and the person at the end of the day wasn't happy with the final images, which also reflects our work. So I have few makeup artists which I work with, and I always try to recommend them, because I know they do really good job as well. That's gonna make my job easier at the end of the day, and I don't have to worry that like I have to just spend hours in Photoshop to fix some of those things later on. The same thing applies to the guys. You want to make sure that the guys, especially they shaved, or they trimmed, or they have a good hair, so it's not a mess. It depends on the shoot, of course, you're doing, but we want to make sure that everything is kind of in place, and it's nice, and it's not that you have to just also later on spend hours in Photoshop to fix some of those stuff, because that's reflects our headshot. So the next thing is, and now we're going to get into more, like I would say, more important parts and more important factors which gonna kind of make our headshot better. So the first thing, and is number 6, it's the pose. As far as the pose goes, what I found, you want to get your client moving. You don't want to kind of sit them still for, let's say, hour and just don't do nothing. I try to always move the lights, change them from one side to another, get the client moving a little bit. Another thing what I found to get good posture is make sure you also talk to the client, so you give them the directions, what you're actually going after, but at the same time talk about some things to make them comfortable. You guys probably remember on one of my previous vlogs, I was talking a little bit about the stool which the client can sit on and kind of feel comfortable, so the stool also moves. around, so that also kind of makes your client feel comfortable. And you know, the one thing what I really like about well, as I said, the stool, that you know, like you can really force the client to engage with you, to engage with the camera. They can kind of move their body forward. They can turn. They can really do a lot of things which you're not able to do when they standing. And also, what I think is really important, just to you know, don't kind of plant your client with one pose and just basically just keep shooting. Like, you want to make sure that, you know, they're moving, you're trying different things, you're trying different poses, you're trying kind of different directions. So, you know, like, you will see after a while which poses are working and which poses are not working. But it's important also to, you know, make sure that the pose is right, because, you know, if the pose is not right, you know, you can probably see, even this is just a headshot, this entire image is simply not going to work. You're going to see there's something wrong with it, and there's something which is basically, it's not going to look good on the image. So the number 7, and this is something which is, I would say, one of the most important thing on the headshot, is just the face expression. And this is something what a lot of photographers struggle, because, you know, I think you can miss all those other stuff, you know, like the lighting can be bad, you know, like whatever, but if the face expression is bad and, you know, doesn't work, you know, the image is just literally garbage. Like, you know, there's nothing what you can do with this. So the same thing, you know, when I talk about the pose, it's important to put your client into the mood which they feel, well, I don't want to say happy, but they you know, they excited. You know, you want to talk to them about, you know, things which they like, you know, their hobbies, things which really put them in certain kind of mood. So you can kind of capture those positive face expressions. I always try to work with different ones, from being serious to be more kind of happy to you know, just more dramatic, kind of like put some tension, you know. So it's important to kind of switch back and forth, you know, with different things, just to get your client comfortable. And you will see, usually I found after 15 to 20 minutes of shooting, you know, the people usually get more confident, and then, you know, you can really pull off some amazing face expressions. And again, I'm gonna kind of, I think I'm not repeating myself, but try to also be engaged with the client all the time. Talk to the person, you know, don't kind of have a wall between you and your client and just keep shooting and expect they're gonna somehow, you know, pull off those great face expression. You know, they have to feel it, that, you know, you're engaged. You have to feel it, they have to feel it, that you know, they can open up to you, and then, you know, they can, you know, and then you will see that, you know, that those kind of conversation and those kind of like positive, I would say, feelings which gonna be kind of part of your photo shoot, you know, is gonna reflect on your headshot. And the last one, and this is number 8, and I think this is something which, you know, a lot of us struggle, is the post-production and editing. You know, it took me years and years and years to you know, to get to the point where, you know, I'm happy with, you know, the editing part. You know, I used to send images off to retouchers to kind of work on them, but I found that in that case, those images were not exactly, and they're not fully mine. Like, you know, I kind of felt that someone else kind of work on them a little bit, and, you know, this is not something what you know, I was kind of proud of, and, you know, I felt like, you know, someone kind of was stealing my artwork. So, you know, it's an important thing to master that, and, you know, it takes time, and that also I found whenever you start really kind of pushing your editing, you will also get better in photography, because you're gonna see things which you've never seen before. You're gonna see, you know, how the lights hits the face, how, you know, the kicker lights works, you know, how much you need it. So it's important, and this is something what I also want to kind of put a lot of focus on it, and kind of tell you that, you know what, don't give up. You know, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of frustration, and it's a lot of kind of hard hours which you have to put in to kind of get hands on it and then feel it and kind of master it, so you're happy with the results. So there's a lot of workshops out there. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube which you can kind of look and just keep practicing. Keep working on your images, keep working on kind of get this editing part and then this Photoshop thing part of your routine, and then dedicate at least, I don't know, some time every single day, so you will see the results. So those are the 8 essentials I think are really important in order to get a good headshot. And then I think in order to get a good headshot, you have to kind of meet all of them to put this whole thing together to make this final shot the way you want it, and the way your client's gonna be happy. And I notice sometimes that like if one of those things is missing, this entire, I would say, image or headshot is there's something missing there's something not right. And it's important to kind of work on them and then make sure that all those things are properly done, and then you will be really happy with the final results. So I hope that was helpful. Please feel free to shoot me an email or message or whatever if you have any questions regarding that. I'll be more than happy to answer your concerns and your questions. And that would be everything for today. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys on Friday, because I'm planning to do those vlogs Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Those are the days where I'm going to be posting them. It also depends how much time I'm going to have, because the next month is absolutely crazy for me. So I'll do my best to keep this going. So have a wonderful rest of the week. I'll be looking for your comments, and stay tuned, and I'll see you guys really soon. Bye now.